The time has finally come for me to do my first anti-haul video. Given that I've always been a pretty critical consumer, but also given that in the last couple of months, my critiques of consumerism in the beauty industry and green beauty industry have just skyrocketed to another level, I feel like an anti-haul just is so appropriate, I guess, for where I want my channel to go. If you aren't familiar with this concept, it was a video idea developed and executed by Kimberly Clark, who I highly recommend going to watch her. She's a drag queen. I've watched all of her anti-haul videos. I think she has 10 or 11 currently up on her channel. Nothing to do with green beauty or whatever. Also, like, I don't even like saying green beauty anymore. I'm like still like going through it, guys. You have no idea. But it's really just like the philosophy behind the anti-haul that I find so appealing. It's basically just being very mindful about your purchases and really not falling prey as much to all of the incessant marketing that accompanies beauty products. So like a million disclaimers need to be made with these kinds of videos to preempt critique or trolls or whatever. I think in her first 2 or 3 videos, Kimberly Clark lays out a whole set of disclaimers. I'll just briefly say them here because they apply to any anti-haul video. It's just my opinion and my perspective. I'm probably going to mention products that you use and like, and that's totally fine. I don't know when it became like everybody's mission to make other people wrong on the interwebs. It's so funny to me, like we can have different opinions and still like coexist and be friendly, you know? Sometimes I try and engage that way and then people get very defensive and then it escalates and then I end up deleting comment threads because I'm like, no, no. I can't even remember the other disclaimers, to be honest. I guess another one that's springing to mind is this is just at a particular point in time. I reserve the right to be an evolving human being who reserves the right to change her mind. So this is just how I feel about these things right now, or how I've been feeling about them for the last couple of months. Oh, I remember another Kimberly Clark disclaimer. This is hyperbole, which I guess is an important disclaimer in the sense that, it's not that serious. We're like talking about products and critiquing products. And sometimes I feel like people get so defensive and upset because it's a lens for them to make it about them and take it personally and all this stuff, when really we're just having a conversation about products. And I think the lighting is probably less than ideal today, but you know what, as well, I'm just over striving to have a perfectly filmed and edited video. I'm just kind of like over it in general. I look a certain way or be super perfect and beautiful and all this stuff. I'm just over it. Why don't we just move into the anti-haul? The first thing probably could have been its entirely own video rant, because I have had a problem with this category of the wellness and particularly eco beauty industry for, I guess, probably a couple of years. These sorts of things have never really appealed to me, but I feel like it's just reached epic, I can't talk. I feel like it has just reached epic proportions, especially as green beauty has mainstreamed a little bit more and started to bleed into like the overall wellness industry. So luxury supplements. Now, I'm sure that plenty of you use things from these brands. You probably see results or say you feel better. I can like already hear the blowback or pushback in my head while I'm filming this, but I'm talking about things like the Moon Juice Beauty Dusts, the Dust line, Sun Potion, although I do think that there are benefits to using some of those herbs like ashwagandha and turmeric, but it's kind of like the whole marketing execution of these brands that bothers me. Some other ones that I looked into were the Beauty Chef, which is an Australian company. They seem to be also like the most expensive and just kind of ridiculous. And then another supplement that I had been seeing show up as a sponsored supplement on my social media outlets, Catalyst Gold. So these are the sorts of things I am talking about. Just a little excerpt from Moondust's website, because they were like the first one like a couple of years ago that I remember seeing and being like, right away I was like, this is like all marketing, really. They say moon dusts work synergistically at the deepest levels to enhance your beauty, brain, body, sexual energy, sleep, and spirit. These transformative formulas are alchemized with the most potent organic and wild-crafted herbs, adaptogenic plants, and bioactive minerals available. Add these botanical blends to your daily routine to help your body adapt to physical, mental, and environmental stress. I don't honestly feel like I have enough time to detail every reason why I think these formulas are problematic, even if you feel like you're using them and they create a positive impact. I feel like I guess I just have a different philosophy towards a long-term approach to health. I don't really feel like incorporating these sorts of supplements into your life is a sustainable approach to health per se, but at the same time, like, I am a proponent of supplements. I do think that we need some supplementation. I just don't think it has to be so expensive and so like luxe and beautiful. I just don't think it's necessary. And I also think that, I mean, you guys at this point probably know, I'm a fan of getting very individualized insight and guidance on supplements and everything lifestyle related. I do that through working with a medical intuitive that I trust and have seen great results from, but you could also do it through a functional medicine doctor, nutritional balancing, Ayurveda, Chinese medicine. And so I realized that a lot of these things sort of bleed into each other. For example, Sun Potion is, I think, very much in the mentality of Chinese medicine and Ayurveda. I think the issue is just that the marketplace has gotten so big and there's a lot of generalized advice out there. It doesn't mean that everybody should be taking ashwagandha, if that makes sense. That it's just my issue in general with the wellness industry and kind of the mainstream American nutrition establishment, that it's like a new study will come out that XYZ is good and then people like overdo it. Adam and I sort of touched on this in our Crystal interview conversation where he was saying that, you know, people do hear these sort of snippets and headlines and then they tend to go overboard. I think the intention is in the right place, but I do think it can just be too overwhelming, and also just, you know, you don't need to be taking all of this stuff all at once. And plus, the thing I've always thought is like, what are you supposed to do then? Be like hooked on these beauty dusts for the rest of your life? Like, if you don't take them, do you go back to how you were? Do you just take them as a booster when you need them? Like, it just all seems like marketing. And even if there are some beneficial ingredients and stuff, I just personally don't feel inclined to take formulas like that. The Moon Juice supplements are $30 a piece for 1.5 ounces or 14 servings. So it's $2.14 a serving. It's not cheap. The Sun Potion supplements range a lot. The cheapest thing I found were their organic white mulberries for $18. The upper end, they carry a white dragon matcha for $79.50. And there's a lot of things in the $30 to $50 range. The one that seemed pretty egregiously expensive and eye-rolly was the Beauty Chef, which is this Australian company. They have like these liquid collagen supplements, inner beauty powders for around $60. They have a $120 combo called the Glow Getter, which is a complete daily beauty supplement, including the powder and a Dream Repair cellular serum. This also starts to dovetail into just, again, sort of philosophical or ideological differences to life. But if you really want to get high quality collagen, make yourself some bone broth from animals that have been pastured and humanely slaughtered, and you will get bone broth that literally is like gelatinized, because the bones will leach natural collagen. Now, if you are an animal rights person and you don't feel comfortable eating animals, fine, but it's much cheaper and, in my opinion, healthier to get the collagen directly from the source. I will not be engaging in vegan versus non-vegan dogma in the comments. And then this Catalyst Gold supplement is a non-GMO vegan wellness supplement. It comes as capsules. It's not even clearly labeled anywhere in the jar how many capsules you're getting, but it's $90. It's carried on the Beauty Bar website, and then I also saw that they're carried on Anthropology and Free People, which I just think is funny. So I feel like I've railed against these supplements enough. I just don't think that you need to be spending that kind of money to be getting the supplementation that you need. I think human needs for supplements are really quite simple, but also very individualized. So For example, I take things like a high quality probiotic, fish oil, kelp for iodine, liquid magnesium, a digestive enzyme, and that might be it. These companies just really piss me off because they're so just expensive and beautifully marketed and executed, and I feel like they're trying to sell you more than just like supplementing your physical body. All the marketing behind it really irritates me. I get all of my supplements on Vitacost, so that will show you that they are not fancy and not expensive and also highly effective. Okay, already solidly 15 minutes into this video, almost. Let's move on to number 2. The Glossier Cloud Paints. These are $18 a piece and come in 4 colors. I have to say, I think Glossier does a really good job of launching their products in a way to make you covet them. And it also didn't hurt that Lisa Eldridge recently did, like, I think she called it her illuminated cheek look, where she demoed a Glossier cloud paint, and it did look very beautiful. The main reason I'm anti-hauling this is because I don't wear a lot of blush, and I just do not need it, and I'm not intrigued enough by the formula. It is supposed to be a relatively unique formula. It's not a cream and not a liquid. I think it's like a gel or watercolor-y. It sort of, in concept, reminded me of the Daniel Sandler blushes, although I think those might be more watery. But I literally am anti-hauling this because I simply do not need it. I'm so happy with the blushes that I have in my life. I feel like it can achieve every look that I want and desire. And I just think it's a way to exercise some self-control, not purchase something that I don't need. I have heard have I heard good things? I think someone told me that it stung her skin, so maybe, I can't remember if it was that product. It was a Glossier product, and I think it was the cloud paint. If any of you have tried them and think that they're like outstanding, then share in the comments. I think the colors did look okay. I think the thing about Glossier that's smart, I guess, from a business perspective, but not from a consumer perspective, is sometimes I'll go and peruse the comment threads on Into the Gloss, where they will announce a lot of Glossier product launches. And it's very astounding to me to see the number of comments from people that are like, I just bought all 4, like buying all 4, need all 4. Like, what is it that compels someone to pick up the entire range? Do you know what I mean? I think it's just, it's a lot of people that say that too. And it's like, you don't really need all 4. Maybe you could pick one that you think you'll get the most use out of and really use it. You're probably going to end up throwing most of those away at some point anyway. So I don't know, maybe this is just what comes with age, is a much more prudent approach to consumption. I don't know. Moving on. Number 3 are 2 items. I don't know why I'm laughing. Because one of these items was actually on it was like a previous wish list video, or like what I was inspired by video, and it is the Shiva Rose face cleanser. It's called the Pearl Milk Cleanser, and her blue crystal eye cream. When I was at CAP in New York last summer, I was like coveting it, because at that time I was still really, really into Blue Cocoon and Blue Tansy, and now I'm just like, I'm not. Basically. The Pearl Milk Cleanser is $45 for 4 ounces, and the Blue Crystal Eye Cream is $95 for half an ounce, so it's really expensive. Okay, I have like some specific points and then just kind of like an overall point about Shiva Rose. I have actually tried the Pearl Milk Cleanser. A girlfriend gave me a sample of it, and I was honestly completely unimpressed by it. Actually, more than unimpressed, I just flat out didn't like it. It was very strange. I remember using it as a second cleanse, and it did not feel like it was getting the skin clean. It left a lot of film on my skin, and honestly it smelled quite synthetic, which is very strange, because I feel like Shiva Rose is one of those brands that really positions itself as like micro batched artisanal. So the eye cream was previously on my wish list, like I'm saying, but it's received some negative reviews. Most notably, Carolyn Hirons gave it like a pretty negative review. I just remember hearing her say, I think it changed texture maybe, or developed a film or something. I do think overall it seems like the formulations of Shiva Rose are not expertly done. That's just my impression. I don't actually know her background in formulation. It would be something I would be curious about. It just seems like there are some issues with her formulation and preservation. In general, I've become much more, I guess, critical and discerning of brands, particularly in the eco beauty space, that are micro batching at home. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. I do know brands that micro batch that way, and I'm very happy with their products. I think it's more an issue of a formulator's background and approach. And so I've just been thinking a lot more about formulation expertise and what goes into that. And I think especially as green beauty has blown up, it's just kind of opened the floodgates for a lot of people to formulate products. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they know much about skin, know much about formulation, or maybe they're really good at one aspect of it, but they're not getting kind of the full picture. So one other point on the Shiva Rose Blue Crystal Eye Cream, I've also been hearing that Blue Tansy is becoming increasingly hard to source, and I don't know if it's because Blue Cocoon has this like cult-like mainstream beauty following now, but it is an issue also of ingredient pricing changing, which then gets passed on to consumers, and it's why I think some people have just kind of thrown up their hands that eco beauty pricing has gotten so ridiculous. Okay, the number 4 item I actually know a lot of people like, so I'm not going to be surprised at all to hear that you do like this, and it's the Josh Rosebrook Active Enzyme Exfoliator Mask. This is $60 for 1.5 ounces. I think Josh's prices for the most part are pretty fair. They're on the higher end. They're definitely an investment, but I do think the quality matches the prices in general for his stuff. I don't do well with his hair care at all. It just does not work for me. I've tried both lines, styling products, everything. So I guess that would be like a general anti-haul for me personally. His skincare, I have found stuff that I really enjoy. It seems to be very gentle but effective. But the Active Enzyme Exfoliator, I've heard so many raves for this. It's like holy grail for a lot of people. The reason I will not use it, and I don't know if I've just fallen prey to other people's fear mongering, but one of the ingredients in it is unpolished walnut shells, or I think it's just listed as walnut shells on the ingredient list. And I was having a conversation with a friend who said that she had done some like deeper digging detective work and did find out that they are unpolished. I believe there are some, it might be Tata Harper, I can't remember the other brand, that does use walnut shells as well, but explicitly denotes that they are polished walnut shells. The issue with unpolished walnut shells, I guess, is that there's a risk of micro tearing the skin. I don't know if that's like urban legend, but it was enough to make me feel like it could be a little bit too abrasive, and I'm just it's kind of, for example, May Lindstrom, the Clean Dirt. I don't think that has unpolished walnut shells in it, but I always felt like I was micro tearing my skin when I used that. I guess May Lindstrom would be like another just anti-haul for me. I've never found her products to be effective on me to the point where they would merit the prices, but you know, I probably stand pretty alone in that camp. I know a lot of people like hero worship that brand. The product I feel like we all used, if you're of my cohort, when we were like in middle school and high school, the St. Ives apricot scrub also uses walnut shells. And if you remember, that's like using sandpaper on your face. Now, I don't know, I guess I would have to talk to Josh more directly about the rationale behind using the walnut shells. It just, yeah, I have other physical exfoliators that I prefer. I think using bamboo, for example, in a scrub is really nice. The Osmia Protein Exfoliating Mask is a really nice physical exfoliator on me. So yeah, that's kind of what I have to say about that. Number 5 is also a previous wish list item that I am now anti-hauling, and it is the Rituel de Fille eye soots. The main reason I am now anti-hauling these, despite them looking quite gorgeous, is that I think that they are vastly overpriced. I think they're $38 for 0.2 ounces. And it's not even really necessarily an issue of not getting enough product. Like, when have you ever gone through like a complete eyeshadow? It takes forever. It's more that $38 for a product I'm not going to wear very much, And also that I've just, in the time since when that went on my wish list, I was like, it just looks beautiful. Sometimes I'll just put things on my wish list that I'm visually attracted to. But when I do kind of a little bit more honing in and listening to reviews, you know, as you do, it gets bumped off your wish list or onto your anti-haul list, as it were. I just think that these are overpriced for what they are. The reviews that I heard are that the packaging design is kind of off, in the sense that I think that they come in like these little canisters almost, and I've just heard that it can be hard to get fingers or brushes like in there. And the only thing I ever really heard about the formula is that it was like nice or okay, but not like mind-blowing. And to spend that kind of money, I mean, at some point I've had to sort of take a step back and be like, do I really want to spend $38 on an eye product? If it were something like that I would get a lot of use out of, fine. Like, I'm not opposed to making an investment, but for something like this, I just think that and I had such bad luck as well with the lip product from them, which, by the way, like, was also not inexpensive, and I just don't feel like the packaging and execution of the brand even merits the prices that they charge. I think that it's a brand that sort of does seem a little bit distinguishable from other eco beauty brands, which can sometimes seem a little bit bland, to be honest, or all sort of seem the same. And so I do think that they're bringing kind of like a unique face of a company forward, but I just don't think that the execution of the brand and the products themselves are really that fantastic from what I've tried. So I probably personally won't be taking any more risks on their products. Okay, number 6. This is on here. I think it's gonna stay on here. I don't think I'm going to cave and buy one of these. But you don't even know how badly I wanted this, purely for like superfluous, non-utilitarian reasons, because I would probably literally wear this item once or twice a year. Honestly. The Stila liquid metal eyeshadows. Oh my God, these are so beautiful. I first saw Jaclyn Hill swatch them in a video, and then Sam from Sam at Home, I think, picked up one or two, or she swatched them on Instagram or something. They are just, oh my God, like every heart-shaped emoji you can imagine. And it's funny, they seem somewhat similar to, do you remember last summer or 2 summers ago, those Cover FX liquid metal highlighters were having a big blogger push moment? I was never like into that. I think the idea of putting that kind of highlight on my face is like the least appealing thing to me on earth. But something was different about these liquid metal eyeshadows. It was like the tones and the range, and putting them on your eye, I was just like, oh my God. I haven't felt that drawn to an eye color in a long time. Anyway, I'm supposed to be anti-hauling this. Literally the only reason they're on my anti-haul is that I just would never use it. I don't wear makeup like that, very infrequently, maybe like New Year's Eve, or, you know, even sort of like my glam going out look is not that anymore. I kind of wish it were. Anyway, it's on my anti-haul list. They're $24 for 0.15 ounces, so it's kind of like a comparable cost-benefit analysis in my head as with the Rituel de Fille eye soots. You know, I can't justify buying something that I just admire as an item, but really wouldn't wear. But oh my God, are they pretty. And then the last item on my inaugural anti-haul are the RMS coconut oil wipes. Now these are $16 for 20 wipes. These had also, I think, been on a wish list video, and I just heard too many negative reviews about them to keep them on my wish list. I use the Bloom Naturals wipes if I need a face wipe, just on a day-to-day. I don't even use them every day. I use them like tops probably once a week. Like if I'm coming back from the gym on the weekend, I'll use them. And they're like $5 or $6 on Vitacost. But when I travel, I do think it's nice to have an individual wipe. You know, they're not something I would rely on for every day. But I just heard reviews that they were not moist at all. And also, they're literally just coconut oil. So it does seem like a bit like a ripoff, honestly. It says they are 100% eco-friendly, but I couldn't find what the actual material of the wipe is. Now, I wanted to juxtapose these with the Ursa Major wipes, which are more expensive. They're almost $10 more expensive, $24 for 20. But they sort of are like, they're more than just a wipe. They actually have some AHA and BHA exfoliating ingredients, vis-a-vis white willow bark in them. They are loaded with a lot of nice skin ingredients like aloe, green tea, witch hazel, and they actually, it reminds me a little bit of Stark's Hydrosol ingredient deck. So I thought about these as if you didn't want to take like a travel hydrosol with you. I feel like these Ursa Major wipes would kind of be like a cleansing and toning wipe in one. So yes, I'm anti-hauling the RMS coconut oil wipes. I'm not sure I would actually pick up the Ursa Major wipes because I think that those are pretty expensive too. And honestly, I'll probably just be that person that like takes some of my Bloom wipes out of the big packaging and puts them in like a little Ziploc. They do also do travel Bloom packages, but I don't know. I feel like I never have them around when I need to travel. It's just, you know, life. So that's it. I did not want to make this video like 20 items long. I kept it small and edited to, I guess, see how this kind of video goes over. And if you want to see me do more of them, I would probably love to, because it's just, I think I just have very different aims than a lot of beauty bloggers. Like, I don't really want to just review products. I want to really talk about the whole experience of what it means to be, you know, a beauty product consumer, and my internal life and how I relate to all of that. I don't know why the impulse to make a lot of those things transparent on my channel is so strong, but I guess it is, and I know it resonates with some of you, so I'll probably keep doing it. Let's continue to talk in the comments. If you have like product suggestions that you're curious about my thoughts on, that could be helpful to put on future anti-haul lists or wish lists, because maybe you'll mention products that I actually want and don't want to anti-haul. So I'm always open to your feedback. I think that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. It's always a pleasure to interact with you guys, and I'll look forward to seeing you in my next one soon. Bye. I feel like that outro was just way too perfect, and like I'm saying, like I don't want to do perfect videos, so I'll just see you guys soon.